Welcome to today's class. Myself, K. Manjula, Assistant Professor of Physics, Dr. BRR Government Degree College, Jadchalra, Mahbubnagar District. In this class, let us start a new topic, that is mechanics of particles. Okay. In this mechanics of particles, in this today's class, the contents we are going to discuss are, that is, first part is introduction and Newton's laws of motion, Newton's first law, and inertia, types of inertia, some examples, and Newton's second law, later Newton's third law. Totally we discuss about Newton's laws of motion in this class. Coming to the introduction of this lesson, that is mechanics of particles. What is mechanics of particles? It is a study of motion. Mainly this mechanics is the study of motion of particles and bodies. This mechanics of particles is the first study of the physics. It is also a branch of physics which studies about the motions of the particles. Okay, we are saying that particles and bodies. What is particle? That is, to understand the particle is nothing but which is having zero or negligible physical dimensions and internal structure is called the particle. Means the material or a body which is having negligible physical dimension and internal structure. That is, mass also should be considered to be zero. That is we consider as a particle. Means to discuss the motions of bodies in this system of particles, we have to consider a system we need. So the system consists of so many particles. So in this lesson we consider a body and a particle are equal size. So for that purpose, that is what is particle means, that is the discussion about the particle. Next, coming to system of particles. See, that is system of particles. If the particles in the system are related here, if the particles, the system which we are considering is a group of particles. If the particles of the system are changing their position with respect to time, that is known as a system of particles. Similarly, quietly means the particles are rigid. So that is known as a rigid body. That is, what is rigid body? If mass distribution is continuous and if relative distance here, if the relative distance between two particles of a system is fixed, not changing with time. So that is the difference between system of particles and that is rigid body. So this is known as a rigid body. So this mechanics, we studied this mechanics in two types, that is mechanics of particles and mechanics of rigid body. So these are the two parts of the mechanics in our first year syllabus. Okay. After understanding this rigid body and particles, actually can we see a particle? That is reality. What is reality of, coming to the reality of particle? In the nature, no matter is observed as a point size mass. Practically the existence of such systems are impossible. Just we are considering this particle may be like this, but most of the relative systems more or less behaves as particles. So in this lesson we consider a whose body, means a rocket and a small size of ball, both are equal size. Both we consider a rocket system and a small ball system, is both are same, both are particles, two particles of equal size. So that is the reality of the particles. Let us enter into this Newton's laws of motion. That is coming to the introduction again. That is, first of all, Aristotle and most of the scientists have believed that there is a relation between force and motions of the bodies, because our mechanics deals with the motions of the bodies. So what is the reason for these motions of the bodies? Perhaps there may be external agency. That external agency we call it as a force. So therefore the scientists thought that there is a relation between force and motions of bodies. So this motion is represented by the velocity. So automatically what happens, under the action of force and acceleration due to the action of force. See, if this is a body, if we apply some force, external force, it comes into motion and it accelerates. It means its velocity changes. So that means it accelerates. So therefore, under the action of force, an acceleration is developed in a particle, and this is proportional to, like this. This F is proportional to this force may be proportional to the acceleration. So this is proved by the Galileo named the scientist. So finally, after observations made by Newton succeeded that in relating this force and acceleration. So he gave his ideas which are related to the motion in the form of three laws of motion. So those are known as Newton's laws of motion. So that is the first law. Simply the brief outline of these three laws is nothing but the first law. The first law is the inherent property. The first law and the importance. This importance of this first law, they introduce a new physical quantity, that is inertia. That is inherent property of the matter, that is called, that we call it is a inertia. Similarly, second law, importance of this second law, it gives in relation between the force and the acceleration. So which explain the motion of particle moving under the influence of force, that is external force, the motion of the particles under the influence of the force. Third law, the third law explains about the pairs of force. So there is no single force occurs in the universe. So that is action and reaction pair of forces, and mainly conservation of linear momentum. So that is, in the absence of external force, the total linear momentum of a system will be constant. So this is a brief outline of these three laws. Let us next. So that is, this is the, in this slide you are observing, this is Newton named scientist. On the basis of different observations on the earth, Newton introduced three laws of motion, which are, these are the core of classical dynamics. The dynamics or mechanics which are depend upon the Newton's laws is called classical dynamics, whereas another dynamics is the quantum mechanics, like this. This is classical mechanics and another one is quantum mechanics. Let us discuss about Newton's first law. This law is also known as law of inertia, because by this law only a new physical quantity introduced, that is inertia. What is Newton's first law? Suppose this is a body. Suppose the body is at rest position. So that's it is in rest position. Okay. Here, before going to discuss this one, in this universe there are two positions. States of a body as two. That is rest position, rest state or motion state. only two states. So here, if this is a body, in the absence of external force, if there is no force here, in the absence of force, this body continues its rest position. Or according to our states of bodies are two types. So if this body is moving with some uniform velocity, it continues its uniform velocity until it is acted upon by external agency. This is the condition of a body. This is the state of a body in the universe. It has to either in rest position or in motion position. So this is that is explained by Newton's first law. First law, that is, according to first law, every body continues. See this one. Every body continues in the state of rest or of uniform motion unless and until external force acted upon it. That is this is known as the first law. Or this law can be expressed in terms of center of mass also. Suppose say this is the center of mass is nothing but where the total mass is concentrated. Suppose say this is a body, its center of mass is here. So in the absence of force, suppose say this is center of mass, in the absence of external force, the center of mass, say this is isolated system, the center of mass of isolated system is constant or remains at rest or moves with uniform velocity. This is in terms of center of mass. So this is a Newton's law, can be expressed in either two ways. That here, what is the importance of this Newton's first law? After defining this Newton's first law, what is the use? We know that is a matter. This is a matter of fact that every particle will oppose the change of its state. If it is at rest, it opposes to come into the motion. If it is in motion, it opposes to come to rest. This is a natural property of a body. So by this, we introduce a new physical quantity, that is inertia. So this is inertia, that is the inherent property of a body which opposes change in its state, that is inertia. Similarly, the Newton's first law defines inertia as well as force. Just defines. Here this first law just defines what is the property of this physical quantity, but it doesn't give the magnitude of the force. This magnitude of the force is given by second law. So that is the difference between first law and second law. Just gives the information about the force, that is. So let us try to understand inertia. That is, inertia is nothing but inherent property. That is a common fact. That is inherent property of a body which opposes the change in its state. How we measure this inertia? Suppose this is a car, a small car, that is 10 kgs. Wait. So this is inertia. Inertia, that is the inherent property of a body which opposes change in its state. Inertia can be measured in the units of mass only. That is, suppose say this is a car, this is a body of 10 kgs and this is another body of 50 kgs. Casually we understand that, normally we understand that this body which is having more mass have more inertia. That is more, it shows that is opposition to change it in its state. So that is it's this inertia measures in terms of units of mass only. So that is units of inertia in SI system be kilogram, kgs. Similarly in CGS grams, in FPS pounds. That is another one. It is a inertia is a scalar quantity. It has no direction, just and it is a dimension mean equal to that is a mass. Mass is nothing but a fundamental quantity. So this is about inertia. That is a car is there. This is a car. A lorry is there. Similarly, we can understand that car is less inertia than lorry. So this the some concept of this inertia. Next, again let us discuss the types of inertias. Depending upon the change of states of opposition of states of change of bodies, we define the inertia into three types. That is inertia due to rest, inertia due to rest, inertia due to motion, and inertia due to direction. So let us see inertia due to rest. See here, inertia due to rest means what is the first position? The body is in rest. The body which is in rest opposes to change in its state, means it doesn't want to come into the motion. It wants to be in a rest position only. So that is the, if a particle which is at rest opposes the change in its state, it is said to be inertia due to the inability of a body which is at rest to change in its state. That is known as a inertia due to rest. Here see, suppose here in this slide you are observing, this is a train, this is a bus. Observe a passenger here, passenger standing in a train will get a jerk if suddenly the bus or train moves, because here sometimes it may happen that passenger falls in a direction opposite to the movement of train. This is due to inertia due to rest only. Another example also you are observing, this is also depending upon the inertia due to. There are so many examples in our daily life depending upon the inertia due to rest. That is next inertia due to direction. That is the body which is confined to some particular direction does not want to change in its direction. So that we can understand that type of inertia as inertia due to direction. So the inability of a body which is confined to a specific direction to change in its direction is called inertia due to direction. Inertia due to direction. So for example, same bus example we can take. So that is, if a bus takes a sudden turn, suppose a bus is moving in this east direction, or suppose in this any direction. A bus is moving in this direction. If this bus takes suddenly a turn like this, then passenger either are sitting or standing in the bus may bend away like this. Means he wants to continue in its direction only. Resultantly, what happened? The man bent away opposite direction to the turn. So like if the bus turns, he bent away in opposite to the direction of the turn. So this is the inertia due to direction. Similarly, inertia due to motion. This is also in the inability we can understand easily. That is the inability of a body which is in motion to change in its state is called inertia due to motion. Suppose if you take bus example or cyclist. When a cyclist going with high speed, means cyclist is in motion. So he wants to in motion. That is the fact of the system. If suddenly the cyclist suddenly applies a front brakes to stop it, then what happens? His body wants to continue its motion position. So due to this one, then he may fall. They may choose that he may fall. So this is the inertia due to motion. After that, this is the importance of this first law is it gives the new physical quantity, it gives information about new physical quantity, that is inertia. Similarly, it gives us information. So the another physical quantity, that is external agency, that is force. That is what is force? It just defines. It doesn't gives the first law doesn't gives the magnitude of the force. See here in this slide you are observing, that is to change. So there are only two states of a body in the universe, that is either rest, the body is to either rest position or in motion position. Similarly, the physical quantity which tries to change the state of a body either from rest to motion or motion to rest. See here, rest to motion or motion to rest, or sometimes direction also. If any change leads to, that is depend upon the quantity, that is force. The physical quantity which tries to change the state of a body is known as a force. See here you are observing the spring is here, the spring is stretching. So it's that is state, its position we are changing. So this is means we need some force. Here we are applying some force. Similarly, pushing or pulling, here the block, the push, some force is applying on this block. So that is push or pull in general. Generally we say that push or pull also known as a force, but actual meaning of this force is the physical quantity which tries to change the state of a body. So that is known as a force. Here it's after getting concept of force, there may be arise of internal forces and external forces. That is, if we take a system, suppose say this is a system, if the system is a group of so many particles, if these particles in the system are under the influence of internal forces, there may be internal forces, but the internal forces cannot change the state of a system. So that is the main. The internal forces cannot change the state. Only the external forces can change the state of a body. For example, if this suppose an object is on a table and it cannot move with the applying a force. So suppose this is a body, this is a table, this is a body. We can't move this body without applying any force. Why? Because even though there are internal forces, some internal forces will be present in this body, but the internal forces does not change the state of a body. To change the state of this body, compulsory it should be acted upon by some external force. So that is we understand that internal forces cannot change the state of a body. Similarly, means due to this internal force is confined to a term, that is inertia. So, but next, if you take second example, a driver should apply accelerator to improve the speed of a bus or to decrease the speed of a bus, because only the external forces, internal forces does not change the state of a system. So these are so many examples we get. Without any external force, there is no motion. Next, let us try to, after this is the information about the Newton's first law. Let us discuss about the Newton's second law also. But Newton's second law depends upon the another physical quantity, that is momentum. So before going to discuss Newton's second law, let us try to know about the momentum. Momentum is nothing but the product of mass and the velocity. If a car is moving, suppose a body is moving, this body, it has some mass m, say this, it has mass m, it is moving with some velocity, then this product of mass and the velocity is known as a momentum, because this every body which is in motion possesses compulsory momentum. The momentum of a rest body will be 0. Naturally this momentum is denoted by P, that is P is equal to 0, because there is no motion, there is no velocity. So that is the momentum is defined as the product of mass and the velocity. Coming to the dimension formula, that is for mass, dimension formula we can V is the displacement by time, that is L by T, that is ml T power minus 1. This is the dimension formula of the momentum. Next, it is a vector, that is important, because P we can denote represented with P is equal to mv. So that is arrow mark we should. So its direction is in the direction of applied force or the direction of velocity only. So that is a vector. Coming to the units, here by seeing this dimension formula or by seeing this formula, we can write the units kilogram meter per second, as velocity has meter per second. Similarly, in CGS system, grams centimeter per second. These are the dimensions, units for this momentum. Depending upon, so now we can understand that if a body is in motion, it possesses some momentum. Suppose say, if there is a change in its momentum, what we have to do? We have to apply some external agency. So due to the applying of this external force, there will be a change in its momentum. That means the mass does not changes, but its velocity changes. So this is the defined in the form of second law. If there is a change in momentum, that must be directly proportional to the force applied on that body or a system. So that is the Newton's second. See here, this law is based on the concept of momentum. Already we have discussed about the momentum. See, so suppose say, that is second law, the rate change of momentum. The rate change of momentum. This is the rate change of momentum. The rate change of momentum of a body is directly proportional to the external force acting on it. Suppose this is a body. Its mass is m. If it is moving with velocity u, due to the application of this force, its velocity changes to velocity v. Then what happens? What the change in momentum? So the change in momentum takes place only the direction of force. Finally, by using this second law, we get the relationship between acceleration and the force as a F is equal to ma, which is well known Newton's second law equation. Let us derive this equation on the basis of this momentum concept. So that is, see here just now, we have discussed. Consider a body. Say, consider a body of mass m, body or a particle who is moving with initial velocity, u, mass is m, and due to the application of this force for time t, here means we rate change of movement. So for time t, the final velocity of this body may changes to v. Then what is the change? Just calculate the change in momentum. So what is the initial momentum? What is the final momentum? Initial momentum is nothing but product of mass into velocity, that is p1 is equal to mu. Similarly, here also in the second case, in the final case, the final momentum, that may be product of mass and velocity. So what is the change in momentum? That is p initially is mu, p final is mv. Therefore change in momentum is equal to p final minus p initial, that is mv minus mu, by taking m as a common, v minus u. So that after calculating the change in momentum, here time plays also important role, that is rate change of momentum. So this occurs for time t. So that is rate change of momentum m into v minus u by t. Here, but we already know that v minus u by t, that is rate change of velocity. So that is acceleration. So on substituting, we get rate change of momentum as ma. You are observing in this one. So that is according to our second law, this rate change of momentum, that is ma, is directly proportional to the force applied on it, that is F is proportional to ma. To eliminate this proportionality, we put a constant, that is kma. So here k is a constant of proportionality. Here this is a constant of proportionality. Its value depends on the force, measurement of force. So by to define this k, unit force is 1 here. Unit force is 1 which can produce an acceleration of 1 meter per second square of unit of mass. Suppose say if m is equal to 1 and acceleration also 1 meter per second square, if f is equal to 1, then k is equal to also becomes 1. So that's why, that is k is equal to 1. Like that we define the unit force. So f is, then on substituting this k is equal to 1, we get f is equal to ma. So this is the force equation. By seeing this equation, let us what is the unit for this force? That is F is equal to m, unit for m is kilogram, that is acceleration meter per second square. Yes, F is equal to ma. Coming to the units of force, F is equal to kilogram, acceleration means kg meter per second square. This kg meter per second square, we call it as a Newton in the name of scientist. So that is SI unit of this force is equal to Newton. Similarly, in CGS, instead of this, in place of kilogram, gram, meter, centimeter per second square. This is known as a dyne. So the CGS unit of this force is dyne. Like this, we have two units, that is newtons and dynes are the units for this force. Next, after getting these units, force is a vector or a scalar. Force is a vector. This is force. By seeing this equation also, we can say that acceleration is as well vector. This vector is multiplied with scalar. Mass is a scalar. This can give the vector also. So force is a vector. Similarly, newtons and dynes are the units of force. Here we may convert this newton into dynes. That is 1 newton can be calculated as 10 to the power 5 dynes. So 1 dyne is equal to 10 to the power minus 5 newtons, like this. By using conversion of units, we can calculate this. This is about Newton's second law. So in this class, what we have learned, in this class, just see here, introduction, that is introduction to mechanics of particles. Mechanics of particles is nothing but if the system is a group of so many particles. If the particles of system relatively changing their position with the time, it is known as the system of particles. If the relative distance between two particles is constant, that is and fixed and does not change with the time, then it is called as a rigid body. Actually, the particle meaning is zero mass and zero dimension, but it is not applicable. It is practically impossible. But so we consider a huge body and a small particle also same size. Newton's laws are the three fundamental laws which were introduced by Newton. The first law, Newton's three laws, that is coming briefly outline of this first law, second law, third law is. First law explains the inertia concept. Second law, relation between force and acceleration, means it explains the motion of a particle moving under the influence of force. First law, in the absence of force, the body which is at rest continues its rest position only. It continues its uniform motion. Or in terms of center of mass, the center of mass of an isolated system remains constant or moves with uniform velocity. With the help of this Newton's first law, we can define that is two quantities, that is inertia and the force. Inertia is nothing but an inherent property of a body which opposes the change of a state. It is measured with the units of mass. It measured with the mass of a particle. So these are inertia is of three types, that is inertia due to rest, inertia due to motion, inertia due to direction. That is inertia due to rest means inability of a body which is at rest opposes change in its state, that is the inertia due to rest. Similarly, inertia due to direction. Similarly, inertia due to motion. Next, this first law gives the concept of force, the physical quantity which tries to change of the state of the body is known as a force. Just gives the concept, doesn't give the magnitude. That is important here. So either from rest to motion or from motion to rest, we need a physical quantity, that is force. here one thing remember, internal forces of the system does not change the state of a body. Only the external forces can change their state. So next, momentum. Momentum is the property of a body which is in motion. The momentum is the product of mass and velocity. It is a vector quantity. It is in the direction of the applied force. Next, Newton's second law, that is, this law mainly depends upon the momentum concept. If there is a change in momentum, that must be directly proportional to the applied force. So the external agency is the responsible for the change in momentum of a system. If there is no change in momentum, there is no external force. So that's what we later will define, that is, in the absence of force. See, in the absence of force, so total momentum will be constant, which is a conservation law of momentum, like this. So this is the second law of Newton, states that rate change of momentum of a body is directly proportional to the external force acting on it. For that purpose, let us consider a system that is system of mass m is moving with velocity, initial velocity u, and due to the application of external force F per time t, its velocity changes to v. So what is, just calculate the change in momentum, that is m into v minus u. Rate change is equal to mv minus u by t. So already we know that v minus u by t is the acceleration. So we get F is equal to, that is, rate change of momentum of any body is equal to ma. So F is equal to, F is proportional to ma. F is equal to kma. K is a constant. By k is equal to, we take that is, by defining this unit of force is 1, k value can be taken as a 1, then lastly we get F is equal to ma. This is the Newton's second law equation. It gives the relation between force and acceleration, that is, F is proportional to acceleration. To accelerate more external force will be applied, like this. Newton's second law. Later we'll discuss Newton's third law, continuation of the class tomorrow. This is today's class.